Coming in on a high of maiden and back-to-back centuries, performing with the bat and the ball, is there anything this man can't do right now? I have my guest Harsh Thaker today on Citrus Silly Point, and I bet you didn't know until today what Rizwan told him on the field. Let's check it out. Okay, welcome, Harsh. It's a pleasure to have you. There are a lot of firsts that are happening both for you and the Canadian cricket team. So first of all, congratulations on your maiden back-to-back hundreds and a great performance with the bat and the ball in the UAE.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll touch on that a little bit more later, but before that, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, your childhood, your upbringing, where you grew up?
I was born in Gujarat, Ahmedabad. I was in India for till I was 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old. That's when my parents decided to move to Canada. I always was a cricket fan. Since I was a 2-year-old child, my dad bought me a little cricket bat. I always carried it around with me. Never really played professional cricket in India. Like I never really played any proper games. But my dad would bowl to me a lot when I was a child in our like front yard. And that's where I basically learned my basics of cricket. I started playing cricket when I came to Canada. I joined Sheriff Voodoo, Kasar Cricket Academy, which is Transac now. And then I've been playing there ever since. I've been through the ranks of Canadian under 15s, under 17s, under 19s, and now the senior team.
What about like which neighborhood did you grow up in Toronto or in Canada?
So initially we moved to Etobicoke. Uh,
Okay.
we lived in an apartment for about 2 years. We were there for, and then we moved to Brampton. Where honestly, I don't like. I am always blessed to God that my family were well off, so never really struggled with getting finances or cricket stuff. Like my dad would always buy me the best bats that I would need, and so I was blessed to have that, which I know a lot of other people are not fortunate enough and they have to work harder. So I've always been blessed to have that with me, the support and everything.
Okay, so it looks like your dad really is the one who needs to be given credit to bring that interest of cricket in your life. Is there anybody else in your family that that's really involved in cricket and maybe wants to pursue cricket as a career like you did?
So yeah, my dad's big in it. Ever since I was a kid, I said I want to be a cricket player. He was always down for it. He never forced me to. Like they always, my mom's all key was always that you need some sort of education. You can never go in cricket without education. So I always did have an education. I did software development and network engineering. I even worked before I started playing full-time cricket. I worked as a application database specialist. So that was a mandatory thing that I needed some sort of education. You can't just rely everything on cricket.
Mhm.
But my dad, even my mom, they were always supportive of me playing cricket as long as I had that little bit of backup where I have some sort of education and I'm not just at home doing nothing.
And anybody that you idolized growing up in cricket?
So when I was growing up, when I was really young, I used to idolize Rahul Dravid.
Mm.
So that I think he played a big role in, and even the way I bat, some people say that I do
I was
look a
just
bit
gonna
like
say
Rahul
that.
Dravid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is there. I've always had that. But recently, since he retired, I look up to Kohli a lot. I mean, I think a lot of players look up to Kohli.
So how did your journey in professional cricket start? So it looks like, you said you always dreamed about being a cricketer, but obviously in Canada, this isn't something that you kind of get up and think about.
So basically, I started Canadian cricket since I was 13 years old. That's when I played under 15 cricket. That time I was just playing cricket. I enjoyed cricket. I always had the aspirations to play for Canada. But I played cricket under 15 times. I was 13 that time, played under 15, went up the ranks, played under 17 cricket, went up the ranks, played the under 19 World Cup in Bangladesh. That was the start of it. Then actually getting to the professional side of it was more actually closer to a year ago, I think, where I actually used to work full-time jobs. We all used to work full-time jobs. But year ago we got ODI status. I think last year March we got ODI status.
Yeah.
And that's how we got central contracts in cricket,
Mhm.
where players actually get paid on a monthly basis to play cricket. And that's when I made the transition to play cricket full time. And I quit my job in just before GT20 last year.
Now let's talk a little bit about Canadian cricket as a whole. Now that, especially that you're talking about, ODI status regaining, and also now the Canadian team being able to play first time in the T20 World Cup. So exciting things obviously are happening for Canadian cricket. Any anecdotes that stand out in that journey of Canada making the ODI status again and now being able to play in the T20 World Cup?
I think it's a massive achievement, first of all, to get ODI status. I think with Coach Puba coming in, I think it just rejuvenated everybody. We were all so delighted to have him back because we know what he did for Canada when he was coach before he left. And basically every country he goes to, if you see the track record, they get ODI status, and then that's continued with Canada now. So to come from Challengers League where we went to Malaysia and played, I think 3 years we spent playing Malaysia, Vanuatu, and those teams. Um, to come out of there, go to that tournament in Namibia, and to just make sure that we get that ODI status was huge. A lot of credit goes to our coach. A lot of credit goes to our captain, Saad bin Zafar. I think they've spent a lot of time talking, planning, building a team environment, and really getting the core of the Canadian team. We actually had an issue before they came in. We never really had a core that settled in for a long amount of time. But after they came in, I think we really found a gel and a core to stick around, and I think we're seeing the results now.
So your team is back from the UAE. You guys defeated Scotland. You guys defeated UAE in the Cricket World Cup League Two, and you obviously scored tons, two to be exact. So how are you feeling about your own cricket? How crucial is this form that you're in for Canada going into the World Cup?
I think it's huge. It's good to be scoring runs just before a big World Cup. You're already confident and against good teams. Even as a team, just to beat those teams like 4-0, being 4-0, I think it was a big confidence booster. You always believe in yourself as a team and everything. The confidence is always high, but until the time that you don't get the results, that belief never actually kicks in. To actually win those games now, the team has a belief that we can win against any team and in any situation. I think as a team, we've come to that. Personally, to be scoring ODI hundreds, it's like a dream. It's not something that I take for granted. I think it's a big accomplishment. Personally, I'm really happy. But as I said, it's still a long way to go. This is 4 out of 36 ODIs. We have a long journey still to make the next 50-year World Cup and even to do well in this World Cup. So this is just a starting. We are looking at a long-term future where we are trying to be one of the best associate teams in the world.
For sure. You had a good GT20 season. So you mentioned that you were working up to that point. And you performed pretty well with bat and the ball there. What was your favorite outing or performance in that season?
So GT20 is huge, by the way, just for all Canadians, just to get that confidence out there to play against the big guys, doing well against them. I think it puts you at a different confidence level. You feel like you belong at that level, and that's key in Canadian cricket because we don't get that exposure. Personally, in GT20, my favorite performance would be the
The 75?
75,
The 75
the
odd
chasing knock. Yeah, I think I am a batting all-rounder, so I will always take the runs over
over
wickets. But
wickets. Okay.
any special, like even though when I got 4 wickets, I still had runs in that game. So any performance is big, but that 74 it came out of nowhere because I wasn't supposed to bat one down. Riza got injured. And coach said, "Hey, Harsh, you're batting one down," and I had 10 minutes, and then we lost a wicket in the second over.
Oh,
So
wow.
everything happened instantly, and I went in, didn't have much time to think, and it came out well. So special.
Yeah, no, I remember that one for sure. And I was kind of rooting for Vancouver Knights anyway until like near the end, and then it was a dread that they didn't go all the way. But I was all for Vancouver Knights. What was your experience like playing with Vancouver Knights? So you mentioned you shared space with Risa Hendricks or Rassi Van Dusen, Rizwan Fakhr. Any moments particularly that you would want to share?
I mean, a lot of them. There's so many moments where I've shared before, and I like it's unbelievable to be in the same dressing room as some of these guys. There's so
Yeah.
much experience, such big players that you look up on TV, and you never feel like you've ever played with them. So just to be in that dressing room was a special. I have one memory where I was getting so we were playing Toronto Nationals. That was the game that will take us to the playoffs.
Mhm.
I had picked up 3 wickets. It was my last over. I had bowled well. I had picked up 3 wickets for about not many runs. Darren Bravo was batting, and he was the last recognized batsman. I think there's seven down or something. So once he had gone out, the game would have been done. I was bowling that over. He hit me for a six first ball. Then second ball, I got under a bit of pressure, so I tried to bowl a quicker one. Hit that one for a six too. Then Rizzy Bhai came up to me. He said, "Don't get under pressure. Even if he hits you for three sixes, at this like let him hit you for three sixes. It's okay. It's fine. It's part of the game, right? Enjoy yourself." So basically, he's trying to tell me, don't bowl the ball flat, give it air, because as long as you get him out, the game is over. And I did that next ball. I gave it some air, and he tried to hit again, got caught at long off, got him out.
Yeah.
But I would have never done that if it wasn't for him to come and tell me, hey, like, don't worry about it, bowl the ball slow. And I think those moments, it's experience for me too that I will take forward. Whereas when I'm playing for Canada or anywhere else, if I'm getting hit for sixes, maybe you think that, hey, don't get under pressure. Don't bowl the ball just quicker. Maybe try bowling a slower ball, get the guy out. And I would have only done that only if he'd done it. So I remember that.
That's wonderful. And it's also interesting, how somebody as a spectator will think about in that situation, saying, okay, well, he's been hit for a six, why he's still doing the same thing, and then hearing your perspective and how your team and especially Rizwan's telling you what to do there. So no, that's really neat to share. Now let's shift gears and maybe talk more closely about the upcoming T20 World Cup. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this and meet with the players of the Canadian team is really to highlight their journey towards the T20 World Cup. So you and the Canadian teams will be playing against US, Ireland, India, and Pakistan. So against the US, it is a given that Canada's going to win, right?
We have a good record against them, but
Yeah.
cricket is a funny game.
Yeah, I'm just saying this because, we need to continue that rivalry from hockey, basketball, baseball into cricket, and then can basically announce that Canada will win, let's say, by 38 runs. Harsh Thaker is going to score 60 odd runs, 2 for 24. Deal. Let's just,
Deal. Sounds
yeah,
good.
let's choose that. But in all honesty, though, what are the preparations like to make sure Canada can get as many points as possible in that first round to make it to the next?
I think we're gonna start preparations now. We have a tour coming up soon. I think at the end of the month we might be going to Houston just to have a camp. Get in that T20 mode. We played a lot of 50 overs cricket recently, where we played 14 games in close to I think 35 days. So we're gonna get into setup of T20 cricket. As I said, GT20 last year helped everybody a lot. The confidence going into the World Cup, we're feeling good as a team. It's all about just going into the World Cup with confidence, making sure your process is right. If the process is right, the results will take care of itself. T20 is also a funny game where on the day anything can happen. And we all know about unexpected results in T20. So all you have to do is make sure you're doing the right things, work hard towards what you want, and then just leave the rest to God.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You'll be facing Pakistan and India. So there are some players that, like you mentioned, you've already played with Rizwan, for example. You face some of the players that will be playing, like, let's say there's Iftikhar, and that you've seen or faced in GT20. So what insider tips do you know now that you've played with these guys, that you can share with the Canadian team and maybe with me too here, just about, their game plan, their work ethics, that can help you and the team going forward into the World Cup?
There's a lot of stuff. Like Rizzy by we had a lot of chats with him about just cricket in general. And he said one thing. He said, the work that you put in on the game day is not that's the output of the results that you put in practice. It's the
Why is it?
work that you
Yeah.
put in practice that, and then the output of that is that game day. The game day is not in your control. Game day is the basically he was saying that God will repay you for the work that you've done on practices and stuff that comes into games. I think what that does is it takes pressure out of your head, because you think, oh, I'm gonna go into bat against let's say Bumrah's bowling or whoever shines bowling. Um, there's a lot of pressure there then. So instead of thinking about that pressure that I'm gonna play Bumrah, just go in the mindset that I worked hard to be in this moment. I will play the ball to its merit, and then just leave your instincts and everything to take care of itself. I think that's one big thing that I took out of that saying. Fucker Zaman, what a player, absolute gem of a human being. I've also learned that all of them are really good human beings. That's another thing that I actually look up to. That no matter how big they are, they're still very humble and they still talk to everyone very nicely. They're always open for a conversation. So these things I'm learning, and you feel like some of these big guys, you feel like if you don't meet them, you feel like they would not talk to anyone, but they're very open. They're all very friendly.
Yeah, that's really interesting to know. And you're right. I mean, we saw these guys here, and you would think that, okay, well, they're big stars. Are they going to return to say hi? And here you're telling us, you know, that they really they're just very down to earth and are giving you advices. So that's so good to hear. So before we end, I want to do this segment that I call free hit, where I basically I'm going to ask you some questions like a rapid fire round. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. So don't take and then don't give me, you know, politically correct answers. Just say what's in your mind, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take out my paper for this. Okay, so cover drive, Babar or Kohli?
Holy
Batting or bowling?
batting.
If you could pick only one, GT20, PSL, or IPL?
IPL,
ODI or T20?
ODI.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Run fast. I want to be I want to be faster on the field. So I would take like lightning speed. I really want that.
Very interesting. Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Getting Rizwan's wicket or Rohit Sharma's wicket in T20 World Cup?
Rohit Sharma.
Okay, so you're keeping with your mentor. You're gonna give him cut him some slack. Okay. Your favorite place to go on a holiday?
Uh, I want to go to Switzerland. That's a dream holiday. I haven't been there, but I want to go to Switzerland.
Okay. Favorite all-rounder?
Favorite all-rounder, Jadeja.
Hmm. Favorite local restaurant?
Favorite local restaurant. I love Mexican food, so any sort of Mexican food I would love. But El Mariachi is
You
one of my
like them,
favorite
yeah.
spots. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so shout out to them. Say hello in all the languages you can speak.
Uh, hello. Okay, so I will say it like in every language it's a bit different, right? Because there's not
Yeah.
like hello in Gujarati, you say like Kyam cho,
Okay.
means how are you, hello. Then in Hindi I will say kaise ho,
Yeah.
namaste, uh, um, hello, and then English obviously hello. So that's the three. I think Urdu I can say. I think
क्या
it's
हाल है?
similar. Like it's like
भाई क्या हाल है?
क्या
Right.
हाल है, क्या
Yeah.
हाल है. Yeah,
Yeah.
Punjabi, Hindi, all Urdu almost similar. So yeah,
Yeah.
क्या हाल है.
Okay. Okay, and then finally, who would you like to hit for a six, Bumrah or Shaheen?
Uh, I watch a lot of Indian cricket over my life. Like I follow a lot of Indian cricket, so seen a lot of Bumrah. So I'll pick Bumrah.
Okay, I hope you do hit him for a six for sure. It's been a pleasure, Harsh. Thank you so much for joining me here.
No, thank you for having me.
I wish you the absolute best for the T20 World Cup. You know, I have to say you're doing amazing for Canadian cricket. There's a lot of people who would aspire to be, you know, and want to become cricketers in Canada now as a result of seeing you excel in the sport. We're seeing you and the Canadian team reaching new heights. So that is exciting and something to, of course, look for. But just make sure you defeat US in the opening game. Okay. That's it. No pressure.
Give it our best.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.